Hello, welcome pen friends. Today I wanted to talk about fountain pen nibs. This all got started when Sunday, which is yesterday, I was writing a letter, a pen pal letter, and I found myself writing about, oh, this is my favorite nib, this is my second favorite nib, and I was going on, and I realized, oh my goodness, this would make a really fun video, and I would love to know what other people's favorite 5 nibs are. I would suspect that mine are rather boring, or rather predictable to you guys who've watched me, but I still think it's interesting and it's nice to document, because when I started in the hobby for about the first year or two, this was my favorite nib. A number 6 JoWo, but branded by Goulet, medium nib. So that's important, not only the type of nib and the size, but the size being number 6, but the width being medium. So that, I mean, I didn't think I'd ever look back. I mean, I thought that a number 6 medium was just my favorite. So to find it, to see it in here in my nib container box is a little bit surprising, because there's certain nibs you don't find in here, and those are kind of on my list. So this is just a visual, but what I'm going to do is go down through my 5 favorites, and I did end up with 2 honorable mentions. And I've made all kinds of interesting I gleaned a lot from it, and it also, what I walked away with was, gee, I haven't really explored, with the exception of 2 nibs that are within the last 2 years, then the whole 5, almost 6 years has been, I've stayed pretty steady, and I haven't gone outside of my, I don't want to say comfort zone, but where I've been happy. And I know there's a world of nibs out there that I haven't tried yet. Probably the most exotic nib that I've tried is the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex Extra Fine, and I love this nib, but I'm lazy, and I don't tend to slow down enough to practice with a nib that does require you to slow down, I think, or at least for me. Maybe my writing speed is just way out of control or something. But I want to, I just haven't, I'll just admit it right out front that I haven't gotten to that place. But I have 2 of them now, and I think that's something I could probably put on my goals list, So, okay, we will go ahead and we'll go through the 5, and then we'll do a writing sample with each one. And we'll go through the honorable mentions too. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I put it all out there, but before we start, I want to make it clear that these are basically nib holders, so this is not about the pen that they're in necessarily, and we'll get into that further, but this is truly about the nib. And in every case, it's not necessarily about the specific nib, although I will kind of mention when it is. So now that I've really muddied it up, let us begin. I'm going to go through all 5, and then we'll do the writing part. Okay, so my top favorite nib is a number 6 broad nib JoWo, and that includes of course the Goulet ones, because JoWo makes them, but this specific one also happens to be my favorite of all my broad nibs, number 6 broad nibs, and it came on my Serendipity hybrid fountain dip pen, and it was tuned by James Phineas, as far as I know. They said it in their little write-up about the pen that they were all tuned, so I don't know, it must be just made sure it was smooth. This is the absolute wettest, smoothest number 6 broad nib that I have, but I'm including in my in that, and I pulled one out just to show. Of course, this is another one I have inked up. Just all of the number 6 broad nibs that are made by JoWo. I've just never had one that disappointed me. I don't know if anybody has, but I haven't ever. So either I'm super lucky, or it just hits the right spot. So that's the first one. And then the next one is the newest nib in my world. But I have been writing with another pen with the exact same nib. for over a year now, and I just absolutely love it. And those that follow me are going to know already what it is. It's the Fude nib that comes on the Hongdian forest. This is a forest rainbow. The other one I have is a black forest purple pen. So it's a bent nib. Let's see if we can, I don't know whether you'll be able to see that there. It's bent. And it just gives you a beautiful brush pen look, and we'll of course do the writing sample. So I'm not being specific about this particular one. Both of those are just excellent, and they just I can't wait to try just about every ink that I own with the nib, because I haven't found one yet that was bad. I maybe found one that wrote a little bit drier or something, and I noted that in my little currently inked book, but I absolutely love it. Okay, and then next up is also new to me. This is the newest nib in my world. So I haven't written with this for a year yet, and I did question myself. I thought, is this still the honeymoon period? But I don't think so, because I've written with other stub nibs enough to be really, really, really familiar with them. And here along came this Lamy 1.5 stub, and I'm just crazy about it. I just haven't found an ink that I didn't like with it, and it's juicier. It's so much juicier than the 1.1, and I've just had so much fun writing with it. But who knows what I'm going to say, in a year or two. But I really think that'll remain consistent. I'll bet you anything it'll show up somewhere along this panel in a year, but we'll see if I'm fortunate enough to be here to talk to you in a year. Okay, so the next one is in its little place that it likes to hide. The next one is a number 5. So we saw already the number 6 JoWo nib. The next is a number 5 JoWo Broad nib. This one is branded Goulet, and I just love them. Oops, it looks a little off center, but I don't think it must not be, because I just wrote with it to make sure all was good. It makes the top. It really does. Of course, I see a number 5 broad nib more than one place, but that is it's just a favorite. Okay, it made the top 5. And then last but not least, and I really had to think about this, because you all know me, I love to be able to just swap nibs all over the place, so that a specific color, specific nib holder can get a specific nib that I want, and I don't prefer pulling these nibs at all on the Ecos, but this is a TWSBI Eco with a medium, and it turns out a medium JoWo nib number 5. So there's an emerging pattern, it's, JoWo and JoWo, and here we go again, but they're different nib sizes, so I'm not showing you the same, like this is broad, this is medium, and they are number 5s, this is a number 6. I've tried to examine myself, because I thought, this could change every day unless I really think about, really give it thought. But it wasn't hard. It came to me quite quickly, because I know what I use the most, and that's kind of how this evolved. And then the 2 honorable mentions. Okay, so here we are. We've got the Lamy 1.5, and then we've got the Lamy Broad nib. For a long, long time, the Lamy Broad nib and Fine nib were my absolute favorites of the Lamy. But now along comes 1.5, and I'm wondering, if it will become such a favorite. It probably will, because I love how my writing is with it. Or I'm not the best with a stub nib, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it anyway, even though I don't think it looks that good. So there's Lamy Broad nib for the first honorable mention. And then the next one is the Lamy Fine nib. I absolutely love a Lamy Fine nib for note-taking. And to be fair, it writes wetter, I think, than I just absolutely hate the fine nibs that are number 6 or number 5. JoWo, I don't like them, and that's just personal, because and I've tried and tried to get over it, and but I've given away pens. I gave away a TWSBI that had a fine nib. I just can't quite. I do still have a I actually regretted that, by the way, because for testing and for being a reviewer, that was dumb. But anyway, that was just dumb, and no problem that it can't be fixed. But I do have in my nib collection the larger number 6 fine nib, because that comes up quite a bit that I need to see how it goes. And I think I may have it, I don't know what I have in my Serendipity right now. Oh, okay, here's where it is. So I put the fine nib on the Serendipity probably because I keep stealing the broad nib off of it to put in a pen that I'm going to be using a lot. So that'll be a shock when I go to use the Serendipity. Okay, so now we've laid it all out. I'm going to get my notebook that I have prepared. It's 68 GSM Tomoe River, and we'll write with each one of these, and then I can just, you know, writing sample is always really fun. Okay, so first up is the number 6 JoWo nib in Broad. And I do have Noodler's Golden Aspen. Oh, I was going to I was going to fill this in, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put B for Broad. And then I'm going to put number 6. JoWo. So that way I'm showing myself, you know, I'm going to look back on this in the future. It's October 2022 now. So I will note what it was in. So it's in a Jinhao 159. It's Broad. It's orange. And I'll put gold because I want to make sure I know that was what it was. Okay, this was the part I didn't think through. I guess we'll just do, you know, some stuff here. Okay, so it's just really smooth and a nice wet writer. There we go. Whoops, I got orange all over the place. Okay, so next up, let's see if I can remember not to scribble all over, is the Fude nib. So let's see, I'm not going to put fine, I'm going to actually write Fude. Fude nib, okay, I think that's a number 5, but I'm not going to go guessing around, I just love it. And it is Hongdian, so I'll just stick with what I know for this. Okay, so this pen is Hongdian Forest Fude. Of course, you know, on Amazon they kind of describe these different, seems like every time. And this is Rainbow. It's important when I look back to know what pen I was dealing with. The specific one, because I won't be pulling this nib out. I will love to just leave it right where it is because it's all nice and aligned and writing good. It does something for my writing. It's bold, and of course with this ink, this happens to be Noodler's Cactus Fruit Eel, and I'm not writing the ink down, am I? Oh well. I suppose that's not really the emphasis here. It's really about these favorite nibs and just getting a look at what they do when they're inked up, but I'll probably come back in and fill in. I don't know. You can see I got the cart ahead of the horse a little bit, but that's okay. When I get this much enthusiasm over doing a video, I stop everything and do a video because this is what it's all about for me. Okay, so the next one is the Lamy 1.5 Stub. Again, it kind of surprised me because it knocked the JoWo 1.5 right off the charts. And I still haven't figured out why I like it better, but I do. I just plain do. So then we're going to just put Lamy. That way we know. And this is the Lamy Safari. Dark lilac. Then it's night and day between, if you've been frustrated by a 1.1, this is so different. And I have pen friend Tanya to thank for that because she mentioned it in a pen pal letter, and I just, for once I actually acted on the idea to go ahead and go get the nib. I'm slow to change and try things, but once I do, it's kind of exciting when you find something you like. Okay. Kind of spreads the ink out, but it feels really nice and smooth without being so wet that it takes forever to dry. It's actually much, well, of course, less than the Fude. The Fude just puts down a whole lot. Okay, then next up, number 4 is the number 5, the smaller JoWo nib in the Broad. And this is just an all-time favorite here. So we're going to put Broad, and we're noting that it's a number 5. And it's a, well, yeah, it's a JoWo. It's branded Goulet. Okay, so here we are with the Moonman. Oh, I didn't even say what I had for ink in the other pen, and it does matter. This is actually Noodler's Purple Mountain Majesties that was in the Safari. And this is Vinta Makopa. I think it's getting a little dark. It's been in this pen for a while. Moonman Mini, Wancai. I might be out of order a little. Pink. Okay, and I guess we're going to stick with sort of a theme here. Nice and wet and juicy and oh my goodness. Let's see, figure, oh, just, I mean, you just can't beat that. Now that's, you know, part of that is the ink, but I've been super happy with those little number 5 nibs. Okay, so number 5, not to get confused or anything, is the TWSBI Ecos with medium nibs. I have several of them. I love them. I love being able to color match, and even though I don't swap nibs on them, I just really love them. I can't justify it. I just do. That's all. I use them for journaling and everything else. And here we go. So we've got a medium. And number 5. And, well, we have to say JoWo because they're who makes it, even though it's a TWSBI. So that kind of, it becomes an emerging theme. Anyway. And I know that not everybody likes the same thing. So hopefully this isn't offensive or anything. Okay, TWSBI, Eco. Oh, gosh. I can't remember the colorway of this pen. Lilac or something. All right, I'm going to put question mark, and we'll have to put it in the comments because I'm blank on it. But I do know that I have got Monteverde birthday cake still in here, and I was, you know, I can't clean it out yet. It's not even, it's about halfway, so I want to keep writing with it. So here we go. Whoops. Sticking my head down in there. Apparently it's a holiday. No mail. Very sad. Okay. Okay. So that is the top 5. And then I made a little bit of room over here for the honorable mentions. Let's see. Probably have to just scoot over a little. Okay, so next up is the Lamy with the Broad nib. So we've got Broad, and it is Lamy. Is that how I'm doing it? Yeah, that's all you need for that, I guess. Lamy Safari. Terra. It's either Terra or Terra Red. I'm going to go ahead and put red. And I'll just get carried away there, just writing. It's nice and juicy. I really I think that probably the Lamy Broad nib and then the 1.5 will end up being my top 2 Lamy eventually, but we'll see. And then the fine nib is kind of different because the fine nib sort of compares with the TWSBI Eco, and I use them for the same kind of things, journaling and note-taking. So that's interesting. I wonder how it'll settle after a while. Got both cats. I think Princess is kind of looking at me like, are you going to let me out or what? Because she came in and wanted a snack, and now I think she's kind of a little bit not too happy that the door isn't opening automatically. So, okay. Oh dear, this is kind of messy. I got this wire that I'm working around. And then last but not least is the Lamy with the fine nib, and I love their fine nibs. I even enjoy their fine nibs with my favorite ink. My favorite shimmer ink is, and I'm going to have probably an avalanche, but is the J.R. Bond shimmer inks, and definitely the Amethyst de Laurel is my favorite. And it just comes out of these Lamy fine nibs so nicely for me. So, okay, so that's fine. Lamy. What do I have in here? Oh yeah, I went and I put the the Pilot Iroshizuku Tsutsuji. I love that ink. It's gorgeous. So Lamy. I guess this was just an excuse to ink up a bunch of pens. Oh my gosh, some of them were already inked for this month. And pink. I better pay attention to what I'm doing. Super smooth. And hello pink. So beautiful. Oops, I gotta find a finger I can smear with because they're all like colored up. Okay, so that is it. Let's see if I can straighten things out a little. And I guess this is where I get to ask you for you to please put in the comments your favorite nibs. I am really open these days to slowly trying new things. I was pretty fixed in the beginning there. I stayed with the medium nibs for a long time, and then I kind of transferred over to broad nibs, and I was really slow to get into stub nibs, but I love them. My handwriting is not as good in a stub nib, but practice is the only real way to to change that. So that's, I've been using at least one every month so that I could practice with pen pal letters. So this is how it came out for me, and I see those patterns. I see, of course, I got the honeymoon still going on with the Fude nib, but it's been a long time really, because I got that purple one quite a long time ago, and then I decided to add the beautiful rainbow because it just picks up on so many colors that I already enjoy, in my pens, but with the exact same Fude nib. So we've got, let's see, on JoWo, we've got 1, 2, 3, representing medium and broad in the number 5, and broad in the number 6. And I still like a medium number 6 nib, but it just isn't what I pick up as much, because I'm always picking up the TWSBI Ecos and the Lamy Safaris with the fine and the medium and the eco for all of my really heavy duty note taking and journaling that's going to be really long, mostly note taking, I guess, for that. And then my letter writing all resides with the broad and stub nibs and the Fude. I just love it. But it didn't surprise me to find out that that Lamy came on here 3 times. It didn't surprise me because they're just the ones that I pick up the most. I love that you can switch those Lamy nibs so easily, and my experience has been really good. I've seen comments where it's not the case, and I believe everybody. I mean, our experiences are going to vary, but for me, I've had this incredible experience with the Lamy nibs. And maybe it's the ink I'm using, I'm not sure, which I was really poor about writing down. I'm going to have to go back in just to make sure I don't forget forever, because I have this really super messy paper where I've got it written down, but that's not going to help me because that's going in the trash can, I'm sure. So let me know what you like, and it'll probably go, I have this little list now that I'm keeping, like future things to try out if I get bored in the hobby. So I'm sure we all kind of think that way sometimes. Maybe a new ink or well, in my case, I've got enough inks. A new nib can just really light a fire under your whole hobby. Like this nib here, it's got me thinking about what other colors and will look nice with this style of writing, and how unsaturated can I go and still be able to read, like, because there are inks where I felt like say a medium nib just wouldn't do the ink justice at all. Like I could barely see anything. But with this one, I think I might be able to go back and try some of those inks and be able to read them still. And maybe even get better flow, but I'm not sure yet. That's something I'm going to need to learn. So I imagine this is getting quite long. I think it's time to sign off for this one. I think the next video will be the progress report, and I'll be back to focusing solely on the 8 Noodlers inks that we're looking at. Actually, it probably got expanded a little. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That one didn't work out. 8. So there's the original 8, and then I inked up another pen with Noodler's Segura Wine, which turned out it looks so much like the Cactus Fruit Eel. I don't know what's going on. If maybe there's something I don't know about. I did that because my friend Wasky Squirrel was asking how they compared. Anyway, letters in the mail with some comparisons, but I will be back with that video. I just wanted to hop on while I was really enthused about Nibs and talk to you, and I really can't wait to hear what you have to say, because I know I haven't tried out hardly anything. I mean, I'm sticking kind of close to the beginner level, I suppose. I hear all these things about architect nibs and oblique, and I do have one oblique broad, double oblique broad, something like that, double broad oblique nib, which keeps drying up on me, but so I haven't really had a lot of enthusiasm with that one. But there's so much more out there, and I embrace learning about it, and maybe even taking notes and watching videos and having very slowly, you know, experimenting with different nibs. So I'll see you on the next one, and I hope you're having a good day. Bye for now.